Hey guys, Snupy here. In today's video, I'm finally getting to doing the Shadowlands Feral Druid overview. I got beta kind of late. This video, I wish I did it earlier, but I got into beta about 2 weeks ago, so now I've been playing beta quite consistently, almost every day for 2 weeks. I've done a lot of arena, 3v3, 2v2, and I feel like I got a pretty good idea of where Feral is standing right now, and also some things and thoughts that I wish will happen. But we're gonna get into that later in the video. For now, I'm going to start off by just going over like the ability changes and also talent choice. And then I'm going to be going over Covenant abilities. And then in the end, kind of talk about the current state of Feral. I'm going to try to be as honest as I can. Because I love Feral pretty much no matter what. I'll enjoy it anyways. But I do want to try be as objective as possible and look at like the good and the bad and then give some feedback. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Okay, so starting off, I'm going to be going over the abilities that have returned. Some of them kind of go into talents, but the first one I want to talk about is Barkskin, but I have my notes here, so I'm going to be looking right under the camera. So yeah, first one is Barkskin, which is a 1 minute cooldown, 20% damage reduction, and lasts for 12 seconds. This is a really, really strong thing to get back. It's really huge for all that we have this again. We do lose one wall stack, and the one wall stack we have left is increased to a 3 minute cooldown from a 2 minute cooldown. It's kind of hard to say if this is like a defensive nerf or buff overall. I'd say it's a buff because skin is such a low cooldown and you can use it when you're stunned. And we still have then one wall, and like through a normal arena game, you might get 2 or 3 walls off, and it's really good. So that is the first one. The second one is now Iron Fur. This is not as big, but it is nice, like, having some more utility in bear form, even when you're not playing Guardian Affinity. So if you're sitting bear form, you might be able to pre-Iron for a kidney, and it might actually save you. 1,000 armor is a lot, and I don't know exactly how much like melee damage that is reducing, but it is quite significant. And we also get Cyclone baseline now. This is really big because it allows us to pick one more Arm talent. And speaking of Arm talents too, we got a new Arm talent called High Winds, which after cloning someone, their damage is reduced by 25% for 4 seconds. And as far as I've tested, let me see if I can test it on a scroll. But I've already tested this. You clone someone, get it on. Okay, it's not working there. But a High Winds does not DR, right? It has no diminishing return. So you can clone someone half and you get it for 4 seconds, and clone someone triple DR and you still get it for 4 seconds. Which is quite nice. But yeah, back to clone. It's a side note. So clone being baseline allows you to pick one more honor talent, which is super nice. Again, some comps might even play like this. Yeah, I'm combat. I can't swap. Some comps you can play wound, leader, thorns, or even fresh wound, because this honor talent got buffed too, from 60 to 100% crit. So yeah, there are many options now, but that is very nice. Next ability is Wrath. Sorry, voice is dying. That is Wrath, which is not very big, but I mean, it's there. It's nice. Maybe someone bulbs, you can spam some Wraths out and maybe score a kill randomly. Honestly, it's just nice having more abilities that you can press, even though you might not press them. Just having them there feels kind of good. So then we're going into the affinities, which also comes with new abilities, which is super nice. So now with the rest of them, we get Vortex, which is the thing that Boomies and Resters had in Shadowlands. I mean, in BFA. Vortex, super nice. You can kite away, drop it down, suck him back in, and it's nice. It's not huge, but add some flavor to the class, I'd say. From Guardian, you get Incapitating Roar, which is like a Disorient. Quite good as well. And then from Boomy, you get Typhoon. Typhoon we could have before too, but I mean, I don't really see anyone picking Boomy Affinity in PvP. So moving on from that one. And then we also have Heart of the Wild returning, which is quite interesting. It is on the same row as Bash, which is not optimal, in my opinion, because you kind of want Bash, but you kind of also want Heart of the Wild, so it can be a tough choice. But a side note on Heart of the Wild, there's a legend you can play, which gives you Heart of the Wild for 10 seconds every minute when you leave cat form, then go into caster form, which is quite nice. So that is definitely something you can do is play the legendary, then play bash, and it can kind of get the best of both worlds. But yeah, so that's kind of like the new abilities, or new and old, come back, and where they are to be found. So now moving on to like the rest of the talents. So one big change for Feral is that Sabretooth got nerfed quite hard. It went from 4 seconds per comp point to 1 second per comp point, which is a pretty big hit. I can show you right now if I play Sabretooth. Go, let's say, Rake, Rip, right? Rake, 1 comp Rip, and then you barely have time to get 5 comp points, and Berserk 2 for it. And then you get 5 comp points, you bite, and then the bite's only 5 seconds. Then you have 5 seconds again to get 5 new ones. When you have Berserk now, though, you can actually do it, because Berserk got buffed, which I'm going to cover soon, too. But without Berserk, it's not really doable to, like, maintain the Rip, so, that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, so many things that are intertwined here, but, Berserk is now also, like, a real cooldown. I'm going to just do it now, I guess. So, for 20 seconds, causing Rake and Shred to deal damage as though you were stealthed, and give your finished moves a 20% chance per comp point to refund 2 comp points. So you can pretty much just spam bite in Berserk, which is insane. So with this, you can play Sabretooth and maintain it, but it is still a pretty bad talent overall, I'd say now. I really hope they kind of revert it. And not make it as good as it was, but give it maybe 2 seconds per comp point over 3, and that'd be nice. But yeah, for now, I think I'd recommend playing Lunar and going for that playstyle instead. But yeah, so onto the 25 row. There's no real changes there. Same thing as BFA. At this row again, the affinities now give abilities. And then this row, we got Bash. Bash got nerfed by 1 second, and the cooldown was increased by 10 seconds. A pretty weird nerf. I don't think anyone really was complaining about Bash, but I mean, there it is. And then we have Heart of the Wild again. So good ability, but kind of clunky. 5 minute cooldown. But in double DPS, I think you're gonna be seeing a lot of Heart of the Wild. On the 40 row, we got Soul, Savage Roar, and Incarn. Savage Roar got buffed by 5%. Sorry, by 5%. But I don't really see Savage Roar being used too much. Soul's really nice, and Incarn is also really good now. But because of the Berserk buff, I don't see Incarn being used a whole lot either. As Berserk is now a really good cooldown on its own. And 45, we got Brutal Slash, Primal Ascent, same thing as BFA. Slash still the option, the best option by far. And then on 50, we got some pretty big changes on Bloodhounds. It functions in just a completely different way now, where any 3 different comp point generating abilities within 4 seconds will proc it, and then the next 2 rips or bites are increased by 30% up from 25. So let's see, open up. You can go, if play Lunar 2, Moonfire counts as a comp point generating ability, so you can go Rake, Moonfire, Brutal Slash, and then you proc it, and then maybe Thrash, get 5 comp points, and then full rip. And then you have pretty big bleed damage up instantly. It's strong. Frenzy is also really good still, but I think you can basically, if you play Lunar and Bloodhounds, you can do more of a bleed build. Or you can go Frenzy and Sabretooth, and you can go more single target. So there's a choice to be made there, and exactly like when you're going to play the bleed build or the single target is kind of hard to say. But there it is. So now, on to the next part, I'm going to cover Covenant abilities. So I'm going to jump over to my other character. Hey guys, we're back. Okay, so now I'm going to be testing out the Covenant abilities for Feral Druid. The first one I'm testing out is Night Fae, where we get 2 abilities, one called Convoke the Spirits and one called Soul Shape. Soul Shape is a blink ability where you blink away. It's on a 5-second cooldown once you have it up. It's actually like really insane mobility. The problem is though, like as soon as you want to heal, for example, it's going to break you out of it, and the cooldown will continue. It's nice, but for Feral Druid, you don't really need the extra mobility, to be honest. Usually, it has some uses though. But it's not the most useful. And then we also get Convoke the Spirits. Now, Convoke the Spirits is really interesting because it casts 14 Druid spells over the rotation or over the time of 4 seconds. And it's kind of random, right? And it can also be kicked. But if you get a full Convoke off, it can one-shot someone pretty much. I might have a clip. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. So Get full bleeds up. You definitely want to stun target before you do it. So let's see here. Get some comp points. Maim. And then convoke. Okay, these can't be maimed. You can see it does 2 bites. If you get lucky, you can do way more than 2 bites. But yeah, convoke's definitely a good thing. A good ability. Problem is the long cooldown and the unreliability. So I don't really recommend going Night Fae. I'm gonna get to the one I recommend really soon now. But yeah, Night Fae is definitely fun, and I say I should try it out, see how it feels. But yeah, now on to Kyrian. Okay, so now on to Kyrian. So here we get 2 abilities to do. Every Covenant gives 2 abilities. And we get Kindred Spirits and Summon Steward. So Kindred Spirits, it's written now. Form a bond with an ally every 1 minute. You may empower the bond for 10 seconds, granting you an effect based on your partner's role, and granting them an effect based on your role. I can't really test this out right now because I don't have any partner to do with. And then you also get the Kindred Improvement, which energizes your bonded partner, granting them 30% of your damage as additional arcane damage, healing, or absorption. It's pretty strong, I think, but I don't really recommend this one either. And I can't really test it out now, but you can do a lone empowerment too here. If you don't have a partner, connect with your inner spirit, and you get increased damage done by 15% for 10 seconds. It's not bad. It is not bad at all, and I do think it has some use. But compared to the next one I'm going to talk about, I don't think it's as good. And then we also get Summon Steward, where you summon a little owl guy, and he can do things for you. Change talents. Tell one of my friends how great they are. Can you play me a song? And then, let's see here. You also get, okay, one more thing you get from Kyrian, though, are these potions there, which are quite interesting because they restore 20% health and remove all diseases, poisons, curses, and bleeds for on only a 3-minute cooldown, or only. I'm not quite sure if you can use this many times in one arena, or if the cooldown restarts once you leave combat, which you could also do in arena. But this is definitely like very strong. Kind of like having like a dwarf racial. So actually, I want to say this: like, if this one ends up being a thing you can use several times in one arena game, it might be make Kyrian viable. But I'm not quite sure about that yet. More testing to be done. So there's Kyrian. And now on to the one I'm actually using on my main right now, or on my main beta character, which is Necrolord. There we go. Alright, so there we are. Now on to Necrolord Covenant. So let me just test the abilities here. So we get Adaptive Swarm and Fleshcraft. What Adaptive Swarm does is once you apply it to an enemy, where should I bind this? Let me bind here. I'll read it first. Command a swarm that heals 1,141 or deals 1,086 shadow damage over 12 seconds to target, and increases the effectiveness of your periodic effects on them by 20%. So basically, when you have it on an enemy, your bleeds and all effects that are periodic will do 20% more damage, and same thing with heals when it's on you. So use it on an enemy, and now when it's gonna expire, it's gonna jump to me, and then jump back to them, and it's gonna do this 3 times. You pretty much see now that you can have super high uptime on this. Now it's gonna jump, and now if I have a rejuve on me or a regrowth, these will heal more. And same thing for bleeds when it's on the enemy. Now it's gonna jump again, and when it's done jumping the 3rd time, 2nd time I guess, it's already off cooldown, and then you can apply it again, and it's gonna go to 4 stacks. You can pretty much keep this going, so it's really good and consistent. Because that's the main problem with like Night Fae, that it's really strong, but it's not consistent, right? Because it can get kicked, it can get stopped in many ways, any CC. While this one is gonna on there, and it's just taking the whole game, and that's why it's really good. So for the other ability, we got Fleshcraft, which is a shield that you gain. You can also use like conduits, where you get a CC immune once you're using it too. So let's say a coil is on the way, maybe Locke is using Shadow Fury, or any kind of CC. You can use it and then immune the CC. But it also gives you a shield. Can you just read it actually? Form a shield of flesh and bone or 4 seconds that absorbs damage equal to 20% of your maximum health for 2 minutes. And then canceling their corpse claims their essence to grow the shield up to 50% of your maximum HP. This is more PV stuff though. this is the most effective against powerful enemies. Yeah, that's not really interesting for PP, but there it is though. So the thing about Necrolord is that it might not look too insane, but it's like very consistent, right? And nothing crazy like has to happen for you to get the full value out of it. While Night Fae, again, is more hard to actually pull off. And I think at like higher ratings, you're most likely not going to pull it off. And even if you pull it off, it's RNG involved in what abilities are used out of those 12 abilities. So yeah, there is that. And now on the last one, we got Venthyr. All right, so now for the last Covenant, we got Venthyr. I haven't really tested Venthyr a whole lot, like in Arena, if at all. Because the main reason for that is because it doesn't look very good in PvP. So we got Ravenous Frenzy, which for 20 seconds, Druid spells you cast increase your damage, healing, and haste by 2% stacking. If you spend 1.5 second idle, the Frenzy overcomes you, consuming 3% of your health per stack, stunning you for 1 second, and then ending. The problem with this is that you get Succeed, a stun on you maybe, and it can backfire really hard. It can have some use, maybe like, I don't know. You can do some cheesy stuff, right? But if you want to push rating, I don't really recommend playing Venthyr. And then we have Door of Shadows, which is actually kind of sick, where you can teleport like this, which is quite nice. But again, for Feral Druid, you don't really need to teleport. Our mobility is insane. You have Wild Charge, so instead of teleporting, you just jump to target. And if you want to get away, you can jump away. So it's kind of like a gimmick for Feral Druid, specifically because of the toolkit we already have. But yeah, let's use Ravenous Frenzy to use it up and keep moving. Your stats keep stacking up, and you're getting like in PV. This could be insane. Again, I'm not really a PVer. I do some PV, but I'm not quite sure like what the best for PV is gonna be. And then it stacks up, and like towards the end, it's huge. It says Zero now is bugged, but yeah. So Venthyr. I would not try Venthyr for PP, really. I'd go for either Necrolord or Night Fae. Necrolord the most. Maybe Kyrian can be good, like, sometimes. Especially, like, with the Vial. But, I still kind of want to test that out a bit. Yeah, for now, I just recommend going Necrolord. Okay, now I'm gonna go into more, like, my thoughts and feelings. And kind of, like, how Feral is right now. Some concerns, but also, like, my hopes. And, yeah. Let's dive into it. Alright, so now I'm just going to talk about kind of my experience playing Feral Druid so far on the beta. And if I think you should play it yourself. Kind of talk about my concerns and the things I think that are good. So starting off, if you've been watching my stream, you might tell that you might be able to tell that Feral Druid can do a lot of off-healing. Like insane amounts of off-healing. If you play Heart of the Wild, you can play Strength of the Wild 2. Previously Heart of the Wild in BFA. They changed the name because then it's not double Heart of the Wild. And you can do the most insane healing. I'm doing this guy. You regrowth one time, and then it's fast. And then if you use Heart of the Wild, you don't really because it reduces mana cost, and you can pretty much top someone in a few globals. Quite nuts. But this kind of is good, I'd say. You know, you're a hybrid, you should be able to heal a lot. But the sad part is the damage for Feral Druid is not really there right now compared to some classes. I would not be too concerned with like the damage right now because some classes are tuned way too high, like Subrogue, Ellie, Windwalker. So those things will probably change. But it is kind of concerning when you see some classes doing, you know, maybe double or even 3 times the damage of Feral Druid, which is not good. But again, healing kind of like balances this out, which is a good or bad thing. You kind of make your mind up on that yourself. But yeah, so there's that. And now on to more kind of things that I hope happen to Feral Druid. One thing I would love to see is Sabertooth getting not reversed to what it used to be, but less nerfed than it is right now. Because 1 second per comp point pretty much makes the second part of this talent useless, unless you're in Berserk like so earlier. It pretty much makes it useless. While I still might do it for the bite damage, which makes it a pretty like boring talent, pretty much. Pretty dead talent, and very like not interesting. So Lunar's good though, so it's good. You have options. What else would be good though? One thing I would also love to see is like Mighty Bash and Heart of Wild not being on the same row. If they can make Heart of Wild baseline, that'd be sick. But that's not gonna happen probably. Or just move it somewhere else. I don't really know where. Or even make Bash baseline. Just one or the other would be really good for Feral Druid. There's a kneeling before me. Last chair. There we go. But yeah, so pretty much those are like the main concerns. Just that like you don't really have a, if you play Lunar and Blood Talents, right? You don't really have like the go. You do a bite, and that's kind of like you're more rotting down, which is not a bad thing. But I wish there was something else gonna make Feral have goes, I guess. But yeah, overall, I'd say Feral's looking really fun. I recommend playing it. Like, if you like more of like rotting down playstyle, I think Feral is gonna be right up your alley right now. Some people are saying that bleed damage is kind of low, and I kind of agree. Overall, Feral damage is low compared to other classes right now. It really is. But again, it's beta. Things will be tuned. We gotta see. But yeah. So a hybrid that does pretty good damage, can heal a lot. High utility, you can clone, Vortex. It's a lot to do. So again, like Feral is really fun right now. I recommend playing it if you're looking for high mobility, high healing, stealth. Feral pretty much is the perfect class, right? I say this a lot, but I think if you kind of get into Feral, you're gonna love it. Just gotta give it time, and once you get used to it, it's really, really fun. Because you can pretty much do anything on it. But yeah, there it is. I hope this kind of gave some clarity to kind of how Feral is right now on the beta. And again, tuning is gonna happen. I hope. We'll see. So it's kind of hard to say because we don't really know, right? But tuning will happen. I'm just gonna say it will happen, because if it doesn't, it's gonna be kind of weird. Because you know, you have sub rogues one-shotting people right now and stuff on beta. Some things are just like way off. But overall, Feral is a thumbs up for me. Buff it a bit damage-wise, maybe nerf the healing a bit, balance it out, and I think we're looking at a really, really fun spec for Shadowlands. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, and you can comment down below if you want to see anything else from beta that I can test out for you. Mainly when it comes to Feral Druid, and I'll be sure to do that. And yeah, I'll see you guys on my stream or next video. Peace.